Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. Welcome to the Market Update. I'm your host, Bill Noble. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you need to make money in crypto, then subscribe to this channel. Turn on the alerts bell so you know when we're going live. And if you like the content, please give us a thumbs up. All right, let's welcome everybody on the stream here. We have Ace Crypto from Kuwait. Welcome. Up late at night. Okay. We have Jeff, Justin, Eric, Lawn Shark. How you doing? Fernando. Hi. Okay. London is here. Flipped Burger. Welcome. Okay. House Music Cyprus. Thank you. Montreal in the house. Newcastle, UK. Okay. I have a work meeting, so we need to figure something out here. All right, well, let me give it to you quick. This may be the start of a bear move. I'll tell you why. Okay. Tom Bangard, okay. Everyone is here. Poland in the house. Jeff, thank you very much. X3, welcome. Flip Burgers asking for some good news. I'll do my best. South Africa, Philippines up late. Leeds, UK. Welcome everybody to the stream. Now, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk legacy. I actually almost did a legacy only stream last night. So let's do this in 3 parts. All right. Part 1 is interest rates. The inflation number's out tomorrow. We have to talk about it. 2 is stocks. Interest rates are about to affect stocks, and that's why crypto is freaking out. Then we're going to go to long-term monthly DeMark charts. Let me say that again. Long-term monthly DeMark charts, which you are not going to want to miss. All right. And then we're going to talk about what the big picture is in Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're going to tell you where we think and when we think the bottom is. So I know today is harsh, but I want to try to focus on when the bottom is after sell in May and go away. Right. Then at the end, we're going to look at near ZCash and Synthetix and then take requests. All right. So let's dive in. This is your market update. The long bomb. Once upon a time before crypto, the most volatile instrument in financial markets was the long bond. Okay, the 30-year bond, because it's the most sensitive to changes in interest rates, economic activity, and inflation. Hence its nickname, the long bomb. Now, let's begin with what's going on in China. The green and black lines are data showing history about the number of ships waiting to be sort of loaded and moved out from Shanghai ports. The red line is the huge spike that everything, all the goods made in Shanghai are sitting in a port, right? The amount of goods sitting there is so far above its normal average, it looks like an altcoin. Why do you care about this? Because we're about to experience another shortage of goods, which is probably going to make existing prices go up even more. Now, let's take a look at what they call the yield curve. That is the rate on the 30-year bond, which should be high, right? Because you're lending money for 30 years, and you subtract the 2-year note yield, which is, should be lower and is very sensitive to changes in interest rates, like the Fed, right? Fed tightening, changes in the Fed funds rate. So as you can see, the red and green candles, I got this dark mode now, so let me know if that works out. It's better for TV, I understand. The yield curve has collapsed, right? It's gone to basically zero. Why? Well, because the 2-year note yield has exploded higher, while the rate on the long bond has stayed relatively subdued. Okay, I think that's because everyone thinks that increasing rates will start a recession. That's possible. All right, what I think is more likely is that the purple line will take shape. What's the purple line? Well, that's the bond market's forecast for where, the 30-year bond yield should be. Okay, more on that in a second. Now, when the yield curve gets to zero or negative, you can go back on the bottom and move to the left. So the last time it happened was the top in 2007, before the crisis in 2008. If you move to the left again, you get the dot-com bubble, right, where Amazon stock, in order to justify the valuation, they had to sell every book on the planet 1.5 times. And then if you move to the left again, you have war and recession and oil doubling back with the original Gulf War in 1990. Now, frequently what happens is after it gets to zero, the yield curve that is, two things happen. One, there's a debacle in risk assets like stocks. And two, this yield curve measure actually starts going up. Most of the time that happens because there's a debacle in risk assets and the yield on the 2-year note falls. But that can't happen in this case because the Fed hasn't even started tightening yet. All right. So this green line is another way of drawing this. The green line shows a forecast of what could happen to the yield curve. Now, as it could go to zero and then go up. Well, if the yield curve is long bonds minus the 2-year note, okay, what happens if the way this goes up, this yield curve measure, is because the yield on the long bond, which is also associated with American credibility, also goes up. So higher interest rates, if you think it's scary now, it's about to get more scary. All right. So this is called a bear steepening. All right. Normally what happens is short-term rates go down when everybody gets scared in legacy. Okay. But 30-year yields, bond yields may rise this time faster than short-term rates due to an inflation panic as the mindset shifts and worldwide civil unrest because of food prices or lack of food or COVID quarantine in places like Sri Lanka, China, Pakistan, and South America. Okay. If this continues, if US, we'll get this, I'll get the symbol in a second. If the 30-year bond interest rate continues to go up, stocks go down. Okay. Now, long term, this is super bullish for crypto, right? But they're vulnerable in the short term. So what I'm thinking is kind of a V bottom for crypto, like all the way down and all the way back. Now let's talk about the bond yield. So let's review what we talked about. The yield curve is warning about a decline in stocks. People are freaking out about inflation. If they continue to freak out, the yield on the long bond could go from 268 to 364. Okay, the last time, right, long bond yields got this high, okay, was back in 2017 and 2018. So this is the 10-year note yield. So interest rates are getting to a point, right, where you had this like crypto bear market occur. We're back to 2017, 2018 levels of interest rates. All right. So if the yield on US 10Y and US 30Y continue to go up, right, that's going to hurt equities. And then crypto is always the early warning sign for equities. So if you could see in the middle of this chart right here, all right, you have the Jan 2018 crypto top, right? That is right where interest rates and these yellow lines called the break evens. What's a break even? Well, that's what the bond market thinks it should be compensated for inflation. So when you have a spike in long bond break evens, crypto topped, right? The last time you had a monster kind of, not a monster, but you had a really big spike like you have now. Okay. Now, to drive this point home about stocks, on the left is a dot plot of US interest rates, the 10-year note in 1987. So I had started in the market in 91. So my mentors had been in this market. And they knew equities were going to blow up, but they couldn't buy bonds because interest rates just went up and up and up. Like interest rates went from 7% to 10% between March and September. And then that was it for equities. And then that 10% 10-year note was the top. Now, if you look on right at 2022, the trajectory of yields is the same. So if bond yields, long bond yields continue to go up, okay, it's going to hurt stocks, and that's going to spill over into crypto. So let's review what we have for stocks. For SPY on Friday, or on Thursday rather, we discussed resistance at 445. SPY is the S&P 500 ETF. Okay, we have ES1, right? S&P 500 futures. This is DeMark work. Okay, in January, there was a 5-wave top. So if you see this little 5 and 0 here, okay, that little 0 is the DeMark Elliott wave mechanism for telling you it's a sure top. Not for sure, but, you know, close. As sure as you can be. And then you have A down, B back up on that hopium rally lately, and then C, which I discussed Thursday, can be much bigger and much deeper than anyone thinks. Now, how deep? How crazy? Well, just for hyperbole's sake, just to remind you that the entire move up starting from 2017 on was a 5-wave, right? That was a buying climax in equities on a big picture basis. So how low could equities go? Well, I don't know if you've been on the stream, but sometimes you've heard me talk about the previous fourth. That means sometimes when a market retraces, it can unwind what we call in crypto the give up trade when we're looking for a bottom. Well, in equities, it's the reverse give up trade. It's the, oh my God, I have to be long. So what happens if whatever's going on in bonds destroys stocks? By the way, did I mention that there's an inflation number coming out tomorrow? And that most likely will be the worst inflation number in history. As in the history of the number. Seriously. Now let's look at junk bonds. So let's talk about another way legacy comes unglued. And I think this eventually helps crypto. Okay. Junk bonds have done a 1 through 9 on DeMark. That's the first part of a trend called setup. Then they've bounced around and done that counter trend move we talked about. And now it's going to turn around and go. So if junk bonds, or the riskiest companies, if their debt collapses, stocks likely go with them. So the more rates rise, the more junk bonds will decline. And normally junk bonds and stocks move together. So if you have to protect yourself in crypto, short equities is the way to go. Now, if you're in Europe, all right, stocks went way down on this Russian situation and then came back up and retraced 62%. Okay, and they can't go any higher. So there's all kinds of resistance in European equities. And I guess unless we're talking about oil companies, those stocks can go down. S&P futures on a tactical level, 4,443 was a level we were watching. If S&P futures are below that, you can have a move below 4,000. So you're talking about a minimum 10% drop in stocks. Now, what you've been waiting for, let's go to crypto. So let's review. Rates up. Rates will go up long-term interest rates will go up until stocks blow up. That could start today, accelerate tomorrow. In my opinion, it's going to happen. Now, how does that affect crypto? Let's go to the monthly DeMark work on Ethereum. This month for April, as you can see, is a super ugly, 13 top. Okay, it's not a perfect 13 top, but it is a 13 top, right? So this month, that rally that we saw, that FOMO, when I looked at the monthly charts, I'm like, oh my God. The failed rally, right? Which I got caught in. The failed rally. Bitcoin, it's a Ethereum on a monthly chart using two different type of DeMark indicators. One of them is called sequential. That makes 9s and 13s. And then there's another one that's a little different called combo. So if you put both indicators up at once, you can basically see that every big top in Ethereum pretty much started with a 13 top. So we were going to do this last night at 10 p.m., but I didn't want the American audience to miss it. So we're doing it now. So if you think Ethereum down 5% is down a lot, that may not be true, especially if equities are going to blow up. This is really less about crypto and what rising rates are going to do to stocks. Okay. Now, let's talk crypto. Let's talk Gann cycles. 2016 to 2020 was a 44-month Gann cycle. How did things work during that period? Well, Ethereum spiked up to 1,400 right around the middle of the cycle, then it collapsed, right? It bottomed about 30 months into the cycle and then eventually turned higher at the end of the cycle. In this particular case, if that repeats itself, 30 months into the new cycle, you would expect a bottom in August of 2020. I'm sorry, in August of 2022. So that allows for sell in May and go away. It allows for Putin to mail us a present for July 4th and anything else that's going to happen. So from April to August, you have to manage risk. You have to have a hedge if you want to hold, right? If you want to hodl, you got to hedge, not investment advice. Okay. The next monster rally is probably October 2023. Now, expanding range, going to a tactical view of Ethereum. Okay. A tactical view on Ethereum shows Ethereum breaking out of an expanding range. When Ethereum breaks out of when anything breaks out of an expanding range like this, okay, it usually creates a violent breakdown. So you could be looking at $600 of downside in Ethereum if Ethereum is below, say, 3,100. Okay, let's look at levels in Ethereum. This comes from a Token Metrics quantitative group where they're doing automated levels like what we have in DeMark. So we have 3,180, 2,978, and 2,644. Take a moment, take a picture of that with your phone. Okay, Brian Robinson said October 2023. I hope I'm alive then. Okay, all right, I do too. I feel the same way. Remember, the bottom, though, is in October. The next monster rally is in 2023. So bargain hunting. Crypto Athena says, do we get out of Bitcoin now? Okay. All right. I mentioned 41,600 is the level to get out. And yes, look, folks, if you need to stop out, I said this Thursday with Solana, and I actually wound up being right. I mean, I was wrong on the trade and right on the stop, right? Absolute don't hold positions that you're not comfortable with. Okay. So these levels are levels that you can use as support to try to figure out where stop should be. Now let's go to Bitcoin on the monthly chart. So the 13 top was back at the top. So that's not an imminent danger, right? But Bitcoin is still not rallying, right? I don't think it's terrible. I do think that people may wind up parking themselves in Bitcoin. But if you're in leveraged Bitcoin, or if Bitcoin at 30K would wreck you, then please don't get wrecked. Okay, this is the Elliott wave and head and shoulders top in Bitcoin. We've talked about this. Okay, that move up to 47K stopped everyone out right into a neckline and big fib number right here. Okay, it was like a huge bull trap. Okay, so you got trapped 6K above where it is right now. So if you can't take losses, then make moves, right? Especially in altcoins. I mean, let's put it this way, folks. If Bitcoin collapses, what's going to happen to altcoins? That's really what this talk is about, right? If you have higher rates, lower stocks, ETH gets smacked and Bitcoin gets smacked, even with ETH and Bitcoin having phenomenal supply stories, right? As in, like, the supply is tight. All right, let's go to Bitcoin futures. Okay, so somebody is asking, should I open a short position in altcoins? And yes, please do hit the like button. Marco is asking, what's the best hedge? Okay, is it cash or Pax Gold? I would say a mixture of both. Okay, I would say a mixture of both. I'm going to go into gold later. Okay, now if I was short something, right, it's probably just plain old Bitcoin or Ethereum futures. I think it's not playing in altcoins is the way to go until after the inflation number and we see what happens with stocks. Now, what is happening here on Glassnode is on the top right corner in orange, you're seeing a surge in open interest in Bitcoin futures as Bitcoin is declining. That's the second arrow. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, but I have a feeling people who want to hodl their Bitcoin, which of course I totally understand, right? You're not going to want to puke Bitcoin and pay taxes. You're going to want to hold it, but you're going to want to protect yourself in case there's a problem with stocks. So I sense people shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum futures. Now, on the subject of a bull trap, this is the Bitcoin accumulation index. I really thought this meant a breakout, the far right, because the purple line means bulls buying. But bulls have been buying all the way down, and this looks like the last bull trap, right, where everybody bought strength and then got hosed. So, yeah, the guys who shorted it at 47 are probably calling it, right, probably covering today, hitting the Zen bell, right? So when we look at Bitcoin, there's three levels of interest. 41,600, that's going to be resistance. 39,100 will be minor support, and major support is 36,500. Okay, so these are like the big levels to do your portfolio management with. Now, some pain. Okay, the Token Metrics total market indicator, it went bullish, everything went up, okay, and then it turned around and went negative probably 2 days ago, okay, while it was the weekend. So all these momentum ideas that everybody had about a complete turn in the market disappeared with like 2 down days, right? And obviously, with people freaking out in interest rates, people losing their mind in long bonds, I mean, people think that there's a recession. People are Googling recession. Folks, I was out this weekend, right? I mean, there was a festival here in San Antonio. There was no recession that I could see, okay? Now, let's go to the Token Metrics All Exchange Index. Okay, this is something where every day the AI picks the coins from all the different exchanges, and it's probably the best warning sign of problems. So when it goes to like offensive coins, the market goes up. When it goes to stable coins and stocks, the market goes down. So today it wanted to be in oil, Tether Gold, Apple, and Magic Internet Money. That's it. So the AI, the best reason to have Token Metrics is to have this indicator as an early warning sign. Like the Ratings in the portfolios help you when the market's going up, and this helps you when the market's going down, to stay out of the way when this particular signal gives you a lookout. Now, someone was asking about altcoins, and don't worry, we are going to do requests. Don't worry. So this is total 3, and I did a redraw on this. I ignored one of these big wicks, and I noticed that around 800 billion, you had serious resistance. So this basically shows, like the Bitcoin chart, right? The head and shoulders top. This shows total altcoin market cap could go to 400 billion. This is why I think if you got altcoins, you just have to kind of reduce your position, regardless of how you feel about it. You can still hold something, but you can't be like max loaded up. Okay, Bitcoin dominance. Okay, we talked about a bottom in this at 41. This is the daily chart, and I think if it's above 42.5, it's going to wind up at 46. I think people are just going to park money in Bitcoin. They may also park it in Ethereum, but I think, there's a lot of NFTs denominated in Ethereum that are going to need to be hedged. So keep that in mind. People make park money in Bitcoin. That is after the stock market event happens. Okay, the gold versus Bitcoin ratio has started to go green. Okay, that means gold may do better than Bitcoin, which may mean Pax Gold may be a hedge. So, raise cash, stable coins, right? Long gold, short stocks, and then you can hold however much crypto you can stand handling. Now let's talk about some altcoins where there could be some good news. Okay, Near Protocol, we discussed a move to 17 or 20. We got that. Okay, Near has upside to 26, not today, but if the market doesn't go down, Near is probably going to go parabolic. So, okay, interest rates, Fed, stocks, scary. If none of that happens, Near will probably be the one coin market. 1760 is a big point in Near, as is 1573. So if Near gets above 1760, it can go up a lot, in my opinion. Now let's look at ZCash. A lot of people searching the internet on this. ZCash went down from 300 to 80, then came back and hit 220. That was the 62% retracement of the down move. So it looks like people FOMO'd into privacy, and now they're getting flushed out. One of the reasons why I think this chart's important is because people were in ZCash because they thought they were safe, right? And you got to be careful in these down markets, right? With all these warning signs about inflation, when people think you're safe in a bear market, you're not. You're not. Okay, Synthetix. Oh my God. This thing led the way on the way up. So Synthetix was going up before the whole rest of the market was going up, and now it's crashing. It's crashing. I mean, I looked at this, and our SEO guys are like, hey, you got to take a look at Synthetix. I'm like, why? Synthetix is fine. No, it's not. I mean, it's crashing. What the hell is this? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's called a failed rally, right? Everybody got sucked in. Everybody thought, including me, DeFi was fantastic. All the moving averages systems, and then the interest rate fundamental story, bang. That was it, right? It was like they were up there waiting for us. All right, and that is the market update. All right, let's go to requests because I know you're burning. Okay, I did all that because I want you to know what's going on tomorrow. Okay, so when that inflation number prints, okay, and it's go time, you need to be able to manage risk appropriately. All right, so I've got some charts up here. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to dark mode, right? Hopefully that makes it easier to see on TV. Okay, and I am going to stay here until people get what they need. Okay, so let's go. Let's go to the tactical view of the coins people care about here. Customer service at Token Metrics is first rate, by the way. Thank you. I'm sure they will be happy to hear that. Okay. Okay, so we're going to waves on a daily chart. Okay, so you have a 9 bottom, okay? And that should create a bounce. And if it doesn't create a bounce, then it's probably going to go lower. But again, this thing goes from 10 to 63 and then all the way down to 22. So it's a little bit difficult to get bearish after a decline like this. They've kind of already unwound it. So this is the 4-hour chart. Okay, you've got a couple of 13 bottoms here, right? And I think if waves is above 22.48, it's okay. Okay, let's look at KNC. Okay, and again, keep in mind, these are 4-hour charts and that inflation number is tomorrow. Okay, so this is Kyber, a big Token Metrics favorite. Okay, Kyber has reached its April highs from last year. So I have to leave that up to you, right? Do you want to own something at its all-time high at resistance when you have all this weird legacy uncertainty? Now, there is a case for KNC to go higher if it's above 427. So if you wanted to hang out and wait in these particular coins, that's fine. Okay, just be mindful of the fact that, you know, the thing is at the resistance from last year. So I'm personally in the mood to take profits. I'm personally in the mood to say, all right, I made some money here. Let's take it. Okay. This is a classic case of what happens if you don't do that. This is Polkadot. This is the daily chart. Okay. The support was at 1868 and it just exploded through that. Right. In other words, all the support points didn't hold because bond yields went up overnight. So all of a sudden, where you're talking about, oh yeah, Polkadot's a nice buy in front of this support, now the support's smashed. So if you go to a weekly, okay, your next support is at 1335. So if you can't tolerate Polkadot at 1335, you need to adjust your position. As much as that sucks, right? Even if you get like a bounce off this number tomorrow, because maybe everybody will do the fear trade today. But if interest rates continue to rot, interest rates are going to go up until stocks blow up. Now, do I have the exact day and time of that event? No. Interest rates, long-term interest rates will go up and bonds will go down until stocks blow up. You know why? Because that's what the Fed wants. That's how you cool off the economy, is blow up stocks. And the Fed's just going to let it happen. And that's why crypto's freaking out. Okay, in Filecoin, the big support point was 2071. Okay, that's on the weekly chart. So there's obviously, we're just starting the week, but it's not a good start to the week. Okay, the weekly support below the market is at 8. Let's hope that that is not necessary. Okay, trying to get a daily chart moving here. Okay, somebody is late and saying, are we still bullish about crypto? Honestly, I'm worried about crypto. Like, crypto should have held its ground, and it didn't. It didn't. Okay, I'm going to go to Filecoin over here. Nothing that's happening here should be happening. To be honest with you, nothing. Like when you have a blowout like this, after you should have had a rally, it's scary. All right, so Filecoin, unfortunately, looks like it may be starting a give up trade. Right? In other words, everybody wanted it up here. Everybody thought it was going up, and now you've got this kind of expanding triangle at the bottom. Okay, this feels like people may give up. Okay, I'm going to restart the DeMark software and talk a little bit about what you should do if you're looking at altcoins and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to handle this? First thing you can always do is reduce your position. You do not have to own anything. And you don't have to have a full position if you don't want to. Okay? There's no way that what we're seeing here should be happening. There's no way. The only thing that explains it is the long bomb, is the long-term interest rates. Okay, so here is Filecoin on a 240-minute chart. Okay, so some good news. There's support at 1871. There's a DeMark 13 bottom, and then there's an extended puke. So this could mean that you've got a day or two to make decisions, right? Right? If interest rates are going to go up until equities blow up, well, maybe altcoins have done most of that move. But I don't think you want to get caught here. Now, if support doesn't hold, then you have to GTFO, right? But start asking yourself, okay, on the next bounce, can I handle a down move to August? Okay, if you can't, then make an adjustment. Now, if you're one of these trading types that likes to buy when everyone is selling, I don't know, maybe you take a shot and see if you could get a bounce, okay? But if you don't get the bounce off the inflation number, so most likely in crypto, they're doing the trade today, but stocks aren't really down that much. So if you're losing money, okay, stop the hemorrhaging. If you want to wait because it's on support, think that's okay. That's okay. Okay, render. Okay, hello from Greece. Okay, so again, on a daily chart, the market is not respecting support. This is a good example, painful if you're in render, right? You know, NFTLA, Metaverse Conference, the top. Next year, anytime there's a conference, it's a top, right? Bitcoin, NFTLA was the top of the Metaverse, okay? Bitcoin Miami was the top of Bitcoin. RNDR is not respecting support at 227. And I suspect people are just headed for the door in anything that's really speculative. Okay, Rune, greetings from Bulgaria. Hi, thank you. We appreciate that. Okay, Rune is another classic case of take the money when you're right. Okay, so here's the 13 top in Rune here. All right. There's the 9 bottom, which gives you almost no uptick before Rune resumes down. So I'm guessing that everybody who bought this above 8 may wind up getting stopped out. That's what this looks like. This looks like they're hunting for stops and they're going to take it below 7. Right? Once they get done hunting for stops, it may bounce, but okay, Vulcan, we talked about resistance at 19. This is actually one we got right on resistance using another chart method. There's support at 1127, and big picture, once Vulcan starts to go down, it could be nasty. So there's support at $9.86. There's support at $11.27. All you can do is say, all right, am I holding this? Yes or no? Do I believe in it? Okay, I believe in it. Then those are the levels that have to hold, that if they don't hold, you're going to get wiped out. Now, if they do hold, you won't get wiped out. But again, just remember interest rates and legacy. Okay, Flux. All right, so the good news is it's on support at $1.42. And it's probably so brutally washed out, it's probably got a 13 bottom on the 4-hour charts. Right, there it is. Right, they puke it down to $1.43. And if that doesn't hold, then it's just going to keep going. Right, I am concerned about highly speculative assets. In other words, altcoins. Right, if you got altcoins and you're losing money today and you don't know why, I'm telling you why. It's interest rates. It's U.S. interest rates. Okay, so KLV, a request. Let's take a look at this using the hidden pivot method. Okay, so it looks like the top in KLV was 0.036. So if you made money in this and it doesn't get back above 0.0366, then take the money. Right? If it takes out 0.0366, you're good. But this feels like people selling. Right? This feels like people taking money, right, where there is money. Okay, let's look at Phantom. Okay, let's see how like the DeFi protocols are doing. Okay, so again, you know, it's the 13 bottom and it's right on a big inflection point at $1.14. So if anything, there may be a bounce in Phantom. Phantom has really been beat up like A, B, C. So Phantom might get a bounce. Might get a bounce. All these altcoins, like for today, for the short term, you know, they look pretty washed out. But that doesn't mean that over the next 3 days, you don't have to make decisions about your positions. XRP. Okay, so you have your 13 bottom, and then you have your puke below where you would think it would stop on the 4-hour chart. So you got some evidence. And again, you know, this is not something I draw. It comes from the DeMark system. You know, 1 minute support's holding and the next minute it just gives out. So you got a lot of people looking for hope in XRP. And really what it is, it's probably a range between 93 cents and 60 cents. So you might get a bottom in 2 days, but everyone's running for the door because of the inflation number. Now, Does that create a buying opportunity? Maybe. Is that buying opportunity before the inflation number? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, go back to that slide about 1987, right? I mean, if you have a monster dump in stocks, what is that going to do to crypto? Right? That's why crypto's freaking out today, right? Okay, Luna, right? I want to say that I said Luna at 106, I wasn't thrilled about it. You had a lot of negative divergences. You got the 13 and the 9 top. A lot of people think that this is the answer. That may have already been traded. So you may get to buy this at lower prices. Now, support is at 87. So let's say you loved Luna and you didn't care anything about what was going on with inflation. You didn't care. You're like, all right, I'm buying some Luna. All right, that's cool. Okay, the best place to buy Luna is probably at 72 or 81. I would go for 72. That's the 62% retracement of the last run up from 45. Why not? Make them sell it to you at a good price. Okay, Cosmos. Okay, so very interesting. Cosmos has been underperforming. So today, everyone is giving up. So there's the 13 bottom in the corner. So that's very interesting, right? Is Cosmos something that people will buy on the way down if the market's terrible? So anywhere from 25 to 19 is support in Cosmos. That probably doesn't make you feel good if you own Cosmos. Cosmos is also heading for a 13 and a 9 bottom, potentially. So I actually might add Cosmos to my list with, like, say, Near. Right? Not a lot on the list, but Cosmos and Near are interesting plays. All right, now somebody wants me to go back to ETH, which I have no problem doing. So let's go to the short-term charts on ETH. This is the 4-hour DeMark chart. All right. So on a 4-hour chart, the 13 bottom was overnight. Then they killed it because they're panicking about rates and inflation. Okay. Now it looks like there isn't a whole lot of support, but things are getting emotional, right? There's support in Ethereum at just below 3,000, like 29.30. That's where the support is. So on one hand, ETH at 3,000 is good support. On the other hand, there's monthly DeMark work that's scary, right? That was when you look at the monthly chart of ETH and you see this 13 top for the month of April, I mean, that's scary, right? That makes me want to, like, all right, okay, it's overdone short term, but you have to ask yourself, can I tolerate this if Ethereum after its 13 on a monthly does what Bitcoin did after its 13 top on its monthly chart? Okay, there's the 13 in Bitcoin. So I don't want y'all to get killed. Okay, Solana. So there's good news and bad news about Solana. The bad news is I got bullish, and so did our AI. The good news is I told everybody definitively to stop out if it closed below 119. Definitely below 117. So Solana is approaching support at 95, right? You might get a 9 bottom in 2 days. Really hard to puke out Solana at 95, all right? But if you need to manage risk, then manage risk. You don't have to sell it into support, but if support doesn't hold, act accordingly. Okay. ZCash, I covered in the slide deck. A lot of people are talking about ZCash. Okay. I'm going to the daily chart now. Okay. ZCash is right on support in 147. So there was a 9 bottom, a counter trend move. You do not want to see ZCash closing below 147. Okay, here comes Dent. By the way, folks, there's only one place to get on-demand TA on YouTube that I'm aware of, and this is the place. Okay, so I can't really see the actual levels in Dent, but what I can tell you is the next big support point is the March 16th bottom where the rally took off from. So unless you bought the low, you need to make adjustments. If you FOMO'd in at the high, you know what? That's okay. The late bull is a good creature because you're full of hope. Now, the good news is for you on the short term, there's a 13 bottom and there's a lot of support, right? 2603 looks like the level. So I don't know if you have to make a decision right now because everybody's puking it out ahead of the number. So everyone's freaking out. All right. Don't freak out. Just be aware of what higher interest rates could do to stocks. So maybe what you do is you just kind of watch stocks, right? You have a support and resistance points. I gave it to you for ETH and Bitcoin. And if stocks really start going, crypto's going to go with it. I know that sucks, but that's just the way it is. Okay, welcome from Manius. Okay, seller. Okay, so everything on a 4-hour chart is going to look washed out, right? There's the 13 bottom. Okay, so it wouldn't be shocking if there was some kind of bounce, right? It's just some bounce, or at least a day or two to make a decision. Support and seller is right at today's low in the 5-cent area. Okay, here comes Rose. I don't think I'm going to do 4-hour charts on these because I think everything is going to show is pretty washed out. Just under 21 cents, 20.5 cents is support. That was the prior low. So what goes up comes down in speculative altcoins. Okay, INJ. In other words, now we want to care about support for different reasons, right? So $5.22. Obviously, they puked this whole thing out. If you've lived with the puke, then live to see whether or not it holds 522. If it doesn't, then, you know, that's like your tax loss area. Again, a lot of this is going to depend on equities. If I didn't know about the equities or interest rates thing, right? I mean, oh my God, look at this, right? All the way up to resistance at 236, right? And then it's now at a 7 bottom, which means you could have 2 more days. Now, it doesn't make me want to sell AVE, but let's just look at the fib retracement levels, right? The 62% retracement in AVE was 170. So a market is no good unless you can buy it or unless it holds the 62% retracement. Okay, so if you like AVE, you want to see it above 170. In other words, if by some chance crypto doesn't get wrecked with equities, I don't know how equities get saved, but if crypto doesn't get wrecked, all right, support in IMX is $1.93. So again, with everything down so much today, if you want to hold on to your altcoin, you want to see it come back above important support points. Okay, Cardano Nation is here. Okay, in Cardano, support is 90 cents. So we didn't want to buy it at $1.25. And I don't think I'd be selling it unless I saw a move that blasted it through 90 cents, to be honest with you. Sometimes it's tough to sell some of these coins because, you know, you got really nice dips, but if support doesn't hold, you're trading most of this stuff off rates. In Cardano, I'd wait to see how it does at 90 cents before I lost my mind, right? Okay, flow support is at 544. So that's the level that's got to hold. If you don't have, if that doesn't hold, then you're probably looking at a give up trade, right? Because you had a couple chances to go up here. All right. But if 544 holds, that's constructive. Again, you're going to have to wait for this inflation number. All you can really do, right? So somebody is saying buy fear and buy blood. Okay. Well, let's just take a look at where the market is. So we certainly have enough blood today. That's for sure. Okay. So ETH is still above 3,000. So somebody wants to buy it when it's a disaster. Okay. That's one way to do it. Okay. Let's go look at stocks though. What are stocks doing? Okay. So stocks are below our point at 4,443. So ETH is holding, but stocks are not. Stocks are not. So nobody wants to sell crypto down here. I understand that. That's the problem, right? I mean, you went from to the moon and beyond to shit, right? So GLMR 9 top, right? 9 top over here. Then it just accelerates to the downside. You know, support is at 308. Is anybody, even if I told you to liquidate, even if I was right, I don't think anyone's going to do it because it's down. It's lost half its value from the top. The reason it's lost half its value from the top is that people are freaking out about interest rates. So you have to be really careful in speculative assets. Okay. Again, you know, our quant guys will talk about risk management. All right. So here's Zilliqa, right? All the way up, all the way back, 9 bottom. Okay. So no apparent reason to sell Zilliqa right this second. Okay. There's support in Zilliqa at a little over 11 cents. So if you miss the entire trade, you may get to buy it at either 11 cents or 10 cents. This is the 4-hour chart of Zilliqa. Metaverse on demand, right? One of the things that scares me about Zilliqa has nothing to do with Zilliqa. It's the fact that Zilliqa, Rune, Near, everything that was ZCash, everything that was rallying as Synthetix, leading the market has gotten slammed. I mean, if this is what's happening to the market leaders, what's going to happen to the shitcoins? I mean, that's why I think when it comes to stocks and interest rates, I mean, the only thing that's going to save the world tomorrow is an inflation number that doesn't scare everybody. Okay, here's VRA, right? Failed rally, 2 failed rallies, right? One on the 10th and one on the 8th. Your enemy in this market is failed rallies. Support is just below 2 cents, 0.019. Okay. Again, whoever was selling it over here is probably going to continue to sell it. So if they sold it when it was up, they're going to sell it when it was down. Okay. OMI, don't have it here. Okay. Did Cosmos already. Okay. If I had to make a guess on Cosmos and Near, those are 2 coins that you might put on a list and say they're interesting. So Cosmos is approaching a 13 bottom on the daily chart. So if Cosmos gets wrecked, you know, it would be a dream to buy it at 20, right? But Cosmos never went up when the market did. So Cosmos may be something you can dollar cost average into. Okay, Bill, I thought that the interest rate, CPI, inflation number, war, and supply chain issues were baked into the market already. Okay, let's talk about that. So they might have been baked into crypto, maybe, because crypto was way down versus where equities are. But since we all know that they love to smoke over in equities, they're 420 friendly. Okay, this is the all-time high in equities. Look at where this thing was 3 days ago. I mean, equities a couple days ago were what? 4% off its all-time high. I mean, that would put Bitcoin at like, 59,000. So I was like, okay, well, maybe Bitcoin's going to go where stocks are. Now it's like, all right, well, if you look at what bonds are doing, right? Like, let's look at a 4-hour chart of the long bond yield. This looks like an altcoin, except it's the interest rate on the biggest bond in the world. Now, maybe it's done its thing. Maybe it's over. Okay, maybe. Okay, but again, monkey market looks like it could just get killed. And if stocks get killed, it's going to take crypto down with it. Now, would crypto be a massive buy after they got done smashing equities? Oh, yeah. So if they take equities down like 5%, if you have like 3 limit down days in equities, I don't know where that puts crypto, but once equities get what's coming to them with interest rates and inflation, okay? So for anybody who wasn't here earlier, this slide came directly from our quant department. Okay, we actually worked on this last night until late. Okay, because we have been discussing. There is more than one person at Token Metrics who knows the history of the market. On the left is bond yields or the 10-year note yield from 87. Okay, on the left is bond yields from 87. So rates went from 7% to 10%, and then stocks crashed. Simple as that. Fed rate hikes, fear of inflation, trade tensions with Japan. My mentors in the market were in that. My father was in that. Okay, and then you look at 2022 on the right, the trajectory of interest rates is the same. So if there's an 87 level event in stocks, I mean, folks, I work for an altcoin company. You think I want to get on television and tell you that, you need to protect yourself, particularly since this whole thing looks like it was going to the moon and beyond, like what, a week ago? Stagflation, recession on the horizon. Okay, so that's interesting. Let's talk about that. Everybody thinks that recession is the issue. Supposedly, everyone is Googling recession. I don't see a recession. I mean, maybe there are, maybe this thing with the Chinese supply chain can really mess up economic growth. So I get that. But what I see is a consumer, like I'm talking to my daughter. She took a very big test. We went to the mall, right? And, she found this influencer on TikTok that recommended a certain pair of shorts at a certain store. And we went to the store and we looked at the price tag and we were like, wow, that's robust. And then she actually said to me what I've been saying to her, that if we go back in 3 months, either it's not going to be there, the price will be higher, or half the people in the mall will have COVID. So you know what we did? I bought out my crypto.com debit card, not sponsoring the show, not investment advice. And I bought the shorts. We bought 2 pairs. She wanted a third. Does that sound like a recession to you? Sounds like panic buying to me. Okay, now joyous buying for my daughter, but I think people are just out there shopping until they drop. People know the next variant's coming. So the question is, the Fed hasn't started tightening yet, and prices are just spiraling out of control. So I don't see, everyone's talking about a recession, but if a recession was really on the mind of the market, why are bond yields moving like this, right? This is the 30-year bond again. That's not what you expect in a recession. That's what you expect in like an inflation crisis, okay? All right, folks, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to wrap it up there, okay? Fernando says still paying for medical school too. Most likely I'm going to be on the hook for some of that. All right, so let's review. Bonds could hurt stocks, okay? Why is crypto down today? Because people are afraid bonds are going to hurt stocks, right? It's really fear about stocks that's driving what's happening in crypto. Now, with that said, okay, I know that the lecture on legacy today was longer than it normally is. The legacy angle on interest rates is important for crypto. If interest rates don't go up, it's great for your altcoins. But if interest rates go up and then it crashes stocks, then that's going to hurt all risk assets, particularly the riskiest assets, which is altcoins. So watch rates, US 30Y, watch ES1, okay? And then on any bounce in the market today, make adjustments in your positions, okay? Don't just sit there and get wrecked, okay? I would rather have people reducing risk, right? And then coming back in if the market was okay. People in crypto think you had to have to be all the way in or all the way out. Also, there were levels throughout the thing. Respect what happens if a support level breaks, right? Don't ignore the obvious, like Solana at 117 was mega bullish. Stop was 117, 119, 2 closes below, out. And if we get back in later, awesome. But I didn't want to have people selling it at 80 who bought it at 120. So that's it for today, folks. We appreciate you. I will be here after the inflation number tomorrow.